Meaning construction. Neither things in our universe has any meaning, we give meaning to it. Dr.Bharat Chaugule, Ph.D. Does this world have any meaning? Or do we give meaning to that? It's all about how we interpret things in this world. Nothing has any meaning in this world except the meaning we give to it. Good and bad, right and wrong are not outside. They come from within. When I was a child, my mother used to say that if you wear a red color spectacle, you'll see the world only in red. Case study 1, there was a rich man. He wanted to show the poverty in the town to his child. He took his child on the outing. After the excursion, he asked his son, "My dear child, how is the poverty in the town?" The kid answered, "Dad, we have 1 dog. They have 4. We have little pool, they have a waterway. We have little light, and they have a star. We have little land, they have an enormous field. We purchase the food, they cultivate themselves. Much obliged, Dad, for showing how unfortunate we are." Was that message the father expected to pass on to his son? Absolutely not. Conclusion: it demonstrates that life is all about how we see, interpret, and acknowledge things. Case study 2, I will recount one story here. Sometime in the past, there was an elderly person. He had wished since his youth that he ought to have a pleasant cottage. His income was exceptionally low. Thus, despite his years of experience, he was unable to put together enough money to buy a house. He had 5 children. They grew up and began acquiring wealth. On one occasion, his elder son came and told his father, "Dad, I realize that you have a wish to have a decent cottage. In this way, I bought a decent house for you." The elderly person gained energy after listening to his words. His eyes began sparkling, and his face seemed to be a blooming blossom. He turned out to be more excited and joyful. After 20 minutes, his second son arrived and told his father, "Dad, your elder son bought the house. It was ablaze a few minutes ago." The old man became anxious, the gleam vanished from his eyes. His energy level became low and he began crying. After 15 minutes, his third son arrived and said, "Dad, your elder son is right, he bought a house. It is also right that your second son let you know that it is ablaze. In any case, we have not paid cash yet for that house." After hearing his words, a flash showed up in his eyes once more, and his face sprouted. A scene of the story: the old man had not seen it regardless of whether the house had been bought. Whether it burst into flames or was bogus, regardless of whether cash is paid or not, just by interpreting it, his mind state and physiology changed. As per his interpretation, his psychological and physical state changed. It implies that nothing has any meaning in this world aside from the meaning we give it. Whether any article, thing, individual, connection, or anything else has no meaning, we give it meaning. Conclusion: from this story, we can comprehend that our thought generates feelings. Taking these 2 examples into account, we can realize that life is all about how we see, interpret, and accept things. Nothing in this universe has any meaning except how we give meaning to it. A man came to Buddha under a tree once and wanted to give him a gift, but Buddha refused to accept it. Where would that be? It would only be with that person. Conclusion: as long as we are not ready to accept it, it will not come to us. The game of reference points: we are not responding to the situation, we are responding to our past memories. In my counseling session, I found there was a man who was very much afraid to talk with women, and he was also ambiguous about whether he was a normal person or a gay. In his case history, I found he was once insulted by a girl and a teacher during his school days. Since then, he avoided talking to any woman. His personality became abnormal. When I changed his reference points by reframing, he transformed. In general, there are 2 types of minds: the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. We are not going in depth here about the subconscious mind and the concept of antikaran found in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which contains ahankara, buddhi, chit, and manas. In a nutshell, what we are aware of is referred to as conscious, and what we are not aware of is referred to as unconscious. When we are sleeping, our digestive system, circulatory system, respiratory system, and all other body systems work perfectly without our awareness. Who is controlling it? The unconscious mind controls these activities. Where are our knowledge and experiences? Assume you learned to swim 10 years ago. Have you now forgotten how to swim? You will say, no. It is still with me. Where is it? It is stored in the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is just like a storehouse. I am going to explain the faculties of the mind with this simple example. Assume that I meet an individual whom I had met at some place, say, around 5 years ago. I attempt to recall when and where I met him. The examination process begins in my mind. Where did I meet him, and who is he? What is his name? Shyam, John, or Gopal? The mind scans information from the storehouse, judging, evaluating, and making decisions. The mind has 4 major faculties. Memory is a storehouse. All knowledge, information, and experiences are stored in memories. In NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, this is the domain of the unconscious mind. In yogic science, this faculty is called chit. In Zen yoga, chit is compared with section 1 of the mind. Conceptualization: if you are not yet certain about the answers to some questions, the mind examines the numerous choices introduced before it and ponders over a few things. This faculty of the mind is called manas. Manas also governs the creative mind and the arrangement of ideas. Determination and decision-making, buddhi, or intellect, is the faculty responsible for decision-making. Decision-making may happen with intellect or emotion. But understanding the pros and cons of things and finding what is good for us means figuring out what is right and what is wrong. It is faculty of discrimination. Consciousness, appropriating to oneself all mental and physical happenings I confuse, I eat, I hear, I see, I talk, and I think is called ahamkara, or consciousness. In this context, I is associated with ahankar, or the ego. As long as the ego exists, the true self never emerges. The key to happiness is to dissolve this false ego. Reference points are already stored in the unconscious mind on the basis of previous experiences and empowering meanings to situation. Content reframing. I want to be successful in my life, but I have 100 problems. I want to be successful in my life and I have 100 problems. I want to be successful in my life even though I have 100 problems. Sentence 1, it contains but, shows a negative approach. Sentence 2, it contains and, is neutral, it separates 2 sentences. Sentence 3, it contains even though, it gives an instant positive shift in mind. Context reframing. Diagram 1, it shows a deer running near the tree. Diagram 2, it shows the deer is chased by the lion near the tree. Explanation: we started with a picture of a deer in frame 1, then we added a picture of a lion in frame 2, and the context of the image changed automatically. Initially, there was a picture of a deer running, and when we added the lion, it became a picture of a deer being chased by a lion. Exercise: initially, start working on a mild problem. If you have major problems, do this exercise under the guidance of a psychological or NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, expert or psychotherapist. Step 1, remember your sad moments in life. When you remember the incidents, it gives you pain in your physiology. We cannot understand on a logical level, we can only understand on a body level. So, what symptoms do you experience when you recall a sad, frustrated, or other negative emotional moment? Step 2, keep those memories in a frame. Step 3, add any funny memories to that frame. Context can change immediately. As a psychotherapist and life coach, I have healed many people with this technique. Our unconscious mind is a storehouse. It is just a container for the information. It does not understand the difference between reality and fantasy. What kinds of impressions do we gather that lead to the formation of mental patterns? So, the technique is to add some funny or happy thing to the unwanted frame. The context will change, and you will get relief from unwanted, disturbing memories. My NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, mentor, Dr. Richard McHugh, used to say that fantasy is more powerful than reality. Happiness is our choice. We can control the internal representation and give it an empowering meaning in any circumstance. So, we can choose to be happy. Find a positive intention even in criticism. Suppose there is a fat lady in your office. Her colleague tells her, "Smita, you are very fat." What is the positive intention of that man toward Smita? He wishes to see Smita as a slim and attractive woman. Thus, it may have a positive intention behind it. So, look for some positive intent even in criticisms. We are in charge of our minds. We have the sole power to use it for our empowerment or disempowerment. Case study: distracting the mind. A boy asked his mother, "Mom, is there any power to the words?" Mother said, "Yes, my dear son." He insisted, "How can I know it?" One thing you can do is ask your grandfather about his arthritis problem. The boy went to his grandfather and asked how he felt. "It's very painful, my grandson," he said. The boy came to his mother and said his grandfather was telling him it was very painful. Then his mother again said, "Ask now in your childhood what you did that was naughty." The boy approached his grandfather again and inquired, "Did I do anything wrong in my childhood?" The old man said, "Yes, you did many funny things on many occasions." Remembering that, he started laughing. The boy came back to his mother and said his grandfather had said, "On many occasions, you did funny activities." Mother asked him, "You go there again and ask your grandfather about his arthritis." The boy went there and asked his grandfather, "How is your arthritis? Is it painful?" Grandfather said, "It is all right now. There is no pain." Just changing our thoughts can change our painful mental state. If someone throws a stone at you, how you react to it is determined by whether you are angry or grateful for the opportunity to build a wall with it. Yatha drishti tatha sristi. The story goes that Duryodhana once complained to Krishna that he was being treated less favorably than the Pandavas. He also complained that he was not receiving any work from Krishna. Krishna said, "All right, go to this city tomorrow and bring any good person from there." The next day, Duryodhana went to the city to bring someone who was good before Krishna, but he found something lacking in everyone, so he wandered all day, but he couldn't find a single good person in the entire city. With empty hands, he reported, "Krishna, I couldn't find even a single good person in this city." Yudhishthira was present at that time. Krishna asked him to find a good person in this city. Duryodhana objected, saying, "This is not fair, he may bring anyone." Krishna replied, "Yudhishthira, you can find a bad person in this city." Yudhishthira went to look for a bad person in the city. However, he found that everyone in the city had some good qualities. "I am sorry, my lord, I couldn't find anyone bad in this city," he apologized to Krishna. Moral: perception is projection. We can see outside, but only what we want to see. How to control meanings in order to maintain a happy mindset and empower the belief that will lead to achieving your goals and peace of mind. 1 can use NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, presuppositions. We can manipulate our internal representation and maintain a happy mental state by just using them. There is no such thing as failure, it is simply feedback. Often, we get frustrated by failure, but in fact there is no failure but only feedback, because the kind of action we take determines whether we get the desired outcome. If we want to change the outcome, what do we have to do? Change the action. So, there is no failure, only feedback. If you learn from that feedback and change your actions, you will get different results. Conclusion: the most important thing is not what is happening to you, but what you're going to do about it. Respect others' maps, model of reality. As I explained in the chapter on communication in my first book, The 7 Secrets of Success, we are not staying in the original reality but in our own reality. If you respect others' maps, you will be in a listening mode as well as in an acceptable mode. Happiness comes through acceptance. An argument or disagreement creates conflict. Every behavior has a positive intention. Positive intentions are conveyed by either our own or others' behavior. Even illness is a late symptom. The body gives several signals. If we understand the positive intention, we will be in a learning mode and consider it for empowerment. Question 1. Points to ponder, your takeaway. Question 2. Think about how you can apply your takeaway to everyday life in order to remain positive and happy. $1 million question. There is no meaning in this universe. We only give meaning, so why not give meaning that makes us happy?